We have the National Civil Rights Museum going on later today as the Grizzlies are going to take on the Warriors. And there is always a National Civil Rights Museum list of honorees. And a few weeks ago, I told you that we had found out the list of honorees. And my immediate reaction was, no way. And so I went immediately to the powers that be. And I said, hey, so I saw who the honorees were. And they said, we've already got you Ozzie Smith. And I said, okay, then. Okay. Ozzie Smith, the Hall of Famer from the St. Louis Cardinals, is here in studio. And before we get this started, I am going to give you a little nostalgia. Just for everybody out there, I cannot believe I was able to find this on YouTube. But someone, probably around my age, posted this. But there is a movie that I watched more times than any other movie ever. And it begins with two little boys wondering if Ozzie Smith is a good guy. Here's the movie, and I will let everybody see the beginning.
Cartoons? Sometimes. They get boring.
At least the good guys win. My dad says good guys don't win in real life. And if they do, they turn into bad guys.
What about Ozzie Smith? He's a good guy.
I don't know. I hope so.
I wish there was a way to find out.
Me too.
Look at the beginning of this. They don't make them like they used to, Ozzie Smith.
Where did you find that?
Oh, you ready? You ready for me to blow your mind? I have.
Ozzie Smith, the movie.
I still have it to this day. You see how, look how beat it is.
It's beat up. Yes, it is. Golly.
And in this, it starts off with two kids saying, well, no. The good guys don't always lose. What about Ozzie Smith? And I lived by that. Like, there was something about this, and I was thinking about this. I was trying to tell my son. I was like, there's nothing that truly creates heroes like this anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know you, and I didn't know everything about you. I didn't know everything about your personal life. I didn't know and now for an athlete, it's very difficult. There's a mythology that I got to live with. Not saying that you're not a good guy, but I'm saying for every athlete, right? There's they could make an Ozzie the movie, and I could watch this over and over. And I did. I'm going to prove this. In the movie, you talked about how you love to feel the baseball, right? Mm-hmm. And so you put on a brown paper sack.
That's right.
Over your hand, and you're throwing a racquetball against the wall and catching it in the brown paper sack.
That was my first glove. That was the first thing that as close as I could come to for a real glove. I put it on, and it's the creativity of kids. When we were young, we spent a lot of time outside and stuff, and it was the creativity. And I put that on, and I played with any ball that I could find. Mm-hmm. And you could always find me bouncing a ball, be it basketball or racquetball or tennis ball. I always had a ball that I always bounced, because I think it was one of those things that I didn't really know my skill set at that time. And I realized later that it was doing those little things that helped enhance what was God-given. And so, I played I did that a lot by myself, so my creative mind was always working. And I used to throw the ball against the wall and worked on my forehand and my backhand. My parents never had to tell me that. And I tell kids today that it has to become a part of you. You can't be told by your parents that you should be practicing. And if you have to tell your kid, to go out and practice, I'm not sure that's what he's gonna do the rest of his life. If you teach a kid when he's young, if he finds that thing that he's passionate about, he'll never work a day in his life. And I found that was the way it was for me. I don't feel that I ever worked a day in my life because I did what I loved doing. And I had a chance to share that with people, and it doesn't get any greater than that. The story that you're talking about as a kid, I signed a lot of autographs and stuff. Now we have these autograph sessions. And one of the greatest things for me is for when you can have an impact on people, especially young people at an early age. I had this little boy came up to the table, and he put his cards up there for me to sign. And this kid was probably 8, 9 years old. And I'm signing the card, and his mom says, "Do it for him. Do it for him." So the great call by Jack Buck in 1985 in the playoffs. Smith corks one down the line. The little kid goes into this. Smith corks one down the line. It may go. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. The Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard. This little kid, verbatim, she said every time that they got in the car, they had to put that tape in.
Wow.
They were great. I mean, they were great baseball fans, and he put it in that tape in. That was standard. When they got in the car, he put it so the kid memorized that. And it's nice to be in a position as an athlete that you can create and touch people's lives in that way. And I don't know if it gets any more positive than that, or if you can be any more blessed to be in a situation where you can create moments that last a lifetime.
Well, to that point, I'm a kid growing up in the suburbs of St. Louis, and I tell my mom, you have to go to the grocery store and you have to get me brown paper bags. Ozzie, I had a glove.
There's something wrong with you, man.
I had a glove.
There's something wrong with you.
I had a glove, but you were doing it on the video. I'm like, this is what's going to make me awesome. I'm going to become awesome if I just use this brown paper bag and I just get the feel of it, whatever. And obviously I did not become... the Wizard. No one calls me that.
But you had a lot of fun.
I did have a lot of fun doing it, right?
But no, and that's really what it's all about. It's
Sure.
being able to touch people that way. And I was lucky to be able to do what I love to do, and being able to share it with people. And St. Louis is that baseball town,
It
man.
is.
And they eat it, they breathe it, they sleep it, and. I don't know if my life would have been the same had I not gotten traded over in the winter of 1981 from San Diego.
Yeah. Where were you when you got the call about this, about today and the events of today and being an honoree for the Martin Luther King Day game?
Well, actually, this was probably the third time that there was a request. But I'm very busy, so it just so happened that it worked out. The schedule worked out. It was finally time for this to happen. And when I got the call, I said, you know what? I'm not busy on the 15th, so I'm gonna be there. I tell them yes, I will accept. So it was very easy. And anytime you're honored this way for something other than what you're known for, and I've always worked extremely hard at trying to be the very best that I could be at whatever it was that I was going to do in my life. And I understood early on that the most important talent in life is the ability to give back. And so, being able to be a part of a community that I could be proud of. And I wanted to be proud of the community in which I live, So I knew it was important for me to be a good role model for kids and stuff, because whether we want it or not, they look up to us. And I never took that for granted and stuff. And so to be honored, and I'm very humble to be in the same class with Calvin Hill and Renee and Alex English, who to me moved in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
What a pretty jump shot. Oh God, it's just it was fun. And I know Alex. I'd met him before, and he was one of my childhood heroes and stuff. And so I'm very honored and very humbled to be one of the honorees here this year.
In terms of post-career and having a public persona and staying Ozzie Smith and getting involved in the community and getting involved with so many guys retire, and sometimes we have to, it'll be a Sports Illustrated, where are they now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have been, within the public consciousness, certainly within St. Louis, and people still have an awareness of what's going on with Ozzie Smith. Did you ever consider post-career just kind of fading back, playing golf every day? Like, why do you think it was important to you to still use your platform when you were done being a professional athlete?
Well, I understood the platform, you have a way of touching people, and I realized that early on. And I like I say, I never took that for granted. And I know that kids, when they come up to me, that there's a certain honesty that kids have, and they believe in me. And like the movie, we saw in the movie there,
you have to live up to that.
You have
for
to
the
live
rest
up
of
to
it.
it.
When the opening scene
That's right.
is the good
guys,
lose.
So
but,
I want to be that
what
good
about
guy.
Ozzie Smith?
But I want to be that. I want to be that good guy, and I want people to know that all the guys aren't bad. There are a lot of guys that are doing a lot of good, and I want to be one of those guys. And people say, "Well, you sign a lot of autographs." I sign autographs because if that's the only chance, the opportunity that someone's going to have to meet me, I want that to be a pleasant experience. I don't want them walking away saying, "Hey, you know what? He wasn't the person I thought he was." So I always took that to heart, and I always tried to make sure that the experience was going to be a pleasant one.
And then once post-career, were you ever thinking, I'm just gonna?
No, not really.
I'm
just
ready.
gonna live my life.
I'm ready to not have all of this attention.
No, it doesn't
No.
work that way.
That-
You once you lose your anonymity, it's gone forever. And I think that once you come to grips with that, then it makes life a lot easier. And it's very nice to be able to walk out and have people say good things about you. It's better than having somebody say, "Oh, that guy was it wasn't pleasant." So I took that very seriously, and I want people to feel that that I'm approachable.
But all the autographs, all the pictures, in this day and age, pulling out a cell phone camera probably every time.
It's a little different.
People see you everywhere.
It's different. And I can't sign every autograph, and we have autograph sessions now because
Sure.
I'm with Fanatics, so there are rules and guidelines and things that go with that. But by the same token, the fact that we do have phones now, it's probably more pictures and things
Sure.
now rather than signing things, and so usually when I'm out and about somewhere, somebody say, "Can I get a selfie?" That's the big deal.
Sure.
And stuff. So I'm very open to that.
What was your experience at the National Civil Rights Museum yesterday and walking through it and taking part in all the festivities?
It was the first time that I had a chance to actually take that in myself. And from a personal standpoint, there were moments where, it brings back all of the memories of that time during the assassination and all the unrest and everything that went along with it.
Do you remember it well?
Yeah.
From your childhood? You do?
From my child. I was relatively young, but I can also remember the riots in South Central Los Angeles back in '65. And, lived through that. I can remember the National Guard having to set up across the street. So there are a lot of things that, as you get older, when you look back on them, you may not have known or felt the impact at that particular time, but as time goes on, you realize that, you were part of a big part of history. And certainly the assassination of Dr. King and growing up with Andy Young and Abernathy and all of those people who were so much a part of the movement. And still the movement continues today. The things that they fought for. And I, myself and all of the athletes that have a chance to do what we're doing today would not have had that opportunity had they not made the sacrifice and the commitment and the determination to make life a little bit better for all of us. And, hopefully the fight continues. And the people that are fighting the fight, I'm very proud of the people that are willing to put their neck on the line to make things better for all of us.
Right now, how do you want to impact things? What matters to Ozzie Smith in terms of the impact that you have on both sports, society, everything that you're a part of, right? You've got this platform, and now I'm sure, the goals change. At one point, it's, I want to win every Gold Glove. I want to be the best shortstop ever. I want to be a World Series champion, all of those things. And then your goals evolve, and certainly post-career. So now, what drives you?
Well, I do play a lot of golf now. And when I was growing up in South Central Los Angeles, golf was never on the radar. It was
Right.
always baseball, football, or basketball. And so when I retired in '96, for most of us, there's a competitive void in your life. And I think guys gravitate to golf because of the challenge. You're challenging yourself, you're challenging the sport and the people that you're playing against. And if you're going to be good at it, you gotta work at it. And I was never afraid of the work ethic. I had to. My size and stuff, I had to do things twice as good as the big guy. Otherwise, you're not recognized. So the work ethic was certainly there, and I approached golf the same way that I approached my craft. And I've gotten myself to a point now to where, I'm about a 4 handicap. I don't know if I want to go any lower than that. I can't make any money. But it's that drive, and I think it's continuing that thought process of being whatever I choose to do in my life to be the very best at it. Knowing that I'm not going to be a professional golfer, but I don't want to embarrass myself either when I get to play in tournaments. I've had the good fortune of playing with the Golden Bear, Tom Watson, Annika Sorenstam, David Duval, Michael Jordan. So when you're in situations like that, you don't want to be the worst one.
Especially not when you're playing with Jordan.
Yeah, right. That's always competitive.
I've been told the money gets high.
Yeah, well, it's not always for him. We talk about the money, but here it's that competitive void,
Sure.
man. It's that competitiveness, and I want people to know that
It's a lot healthier than gambling.
that's right.
It used to be gambling or
right.
golf, right?
That's right, and stuff. So, if I want to be known, I want to be known for that person who put his heart and soul into everything that he did, and I want people to get along. I want people to when you walk by me and say hello. We've gotten to a point now in this country that, we don't even say hello to each other, and that's bad because it doesn't cost you anything. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. And so I want people, when they see me, to feel comfortable enough to be able to say hello and maybe have a conversation.
Where do you think that comes from? Mom?
Yeah.
Mom is
Always,
prevalent
yeah.
in Ozzie the movie.
Yeah, she established that early on. There were times in my life, and I tell kids this all the time, there were times where it was very frustrating. I played baseball in high school with a guy by the name of Eddie Murray. And so when scouts came to...
Hold on. You guys were on the same high school team?
Yeah, yeah.
How did I never know this?
Yeah, Eddie and I... we
That's
played
ridiculous.
And I taught him everything he knows.
Did y'all ever lose?
Yeah, we did. We did. But we played more basketball than we did baseball, actually.
Could you hoop?
Man, I shoot the lights out.
Oh,
Come on,
yeah?
now, man, I was an all-city guard. Come on, man.
Do you think you could have been a professional basketball
I don't
player?
know if I could have been a professional baskall player, but I could put it in the hoop.
Who'd you play against in L.A.? Because that had to have been crazy, right?
Marcus Johnson. Ray Lewis was a little bit ahead of the time. He went to Bourbon Day High School and probably one of the purest shooters the game has ever seen, and stuff. And so those were times that it was just, we just enjoyed the competition. Mm-hmm. And Eddie, when scouts came, Eddie was that guy who could play every position. He was ambidextrous. He came from a baseball family. So when Eddie got drafted in 1973, I had to take a different route to the big leagues. And so I went to a little small school in Central California, one of the only schools that recruited me, called Cal Poly at San Luis Obispo, where after our season we were sent out to play in all these little towns across America. I went to a little town called Clarinda, Iowa, where we had to work during the day and we played at night. And in 1976, I get drafted by the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers offered me $8,500, and I had finished 3 years of my schooling, and I told my mom I'd get my education. So I felt that if they didn't give me 10 grand, they weren't going to take a very good look at me. So in my infinite wisdom, I said, hey, I'm going to go back to them and I'm going to ask them for another $1,500. This is the same year they drafted Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell.
Oh, wow.
And so they say they didn't have it in the budget. So I gambled on me because not many college seniors get drafted. So I went back to school in hopes of getting drafted again my senior year, which I did by the San Diego Padres. And being the good businessman that I am, Chris, I signed for $5,000 and a bus ticket to Walla Walla, Washington, where I started my professional career.
So humility started very early.
Very early, very early. And getting back to what you were talking about my mom, she would always tell me when I was getting to that point to where, you know, I didn't feel I was ever going to get a chance and stuff. And she would always say to me, it's just not your time. You just continue to work hard to be the best that you can be. And when that opportunity presents itself, you'll be ready to step through that window of opportunity. And that certainly was the case because when I was playing in college, I was ready to come home. I was 4 hours away from home, and I called and told her I think I was ready to come home because I didn't feel like I was going to get that opportunity. And she called my high school coach, and he called me, and he very firmly told me, he said, "You're going to stay there because this is the best place for you." And sure enough, I stayed, and a couple of days later, the varsity shortstop gets hurt. He steps into that window of opportunity, man, and I never looked back. I never looked back because I knew that I had the skill set if given the opportunity. I knew I worked hard enough. I knew I had applied myself, and there was no reason for me not to be able to at least play minor league baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I was that gritty a player, and sure enough, man, it all worked out. And so I tell kids today that don't let anybody deter you from your dream. You know, you keep believing in yourself, and if you work hard and keep yourself in a position to be able to step through that window of opportunity when it presents itself.
That is advice that will stand the test of time. Mm-hmm. Regarding kids that you see now involved in athletics, I have 2 kids that are involved in athletics right now. How have things changed in terms of the advice you do give beyond that? Because it is so, their path now, and you see this, you're very aware of what athletes are going through now, and that there are many kids that are growing up playing baseball and they're playing tournaments every weekend and they're traveling everywhere and everything else. Your path is so radically different. So you can't tell somebody. I even feel this way because of the way I started in radio. Now I see the kids with TikToks and Instagrams and YouTubes, and I'm like, don't do what I did. I can't give you the advice of my path to get where I got. When people Chris, ask you, though.
The one thing, Chris, is that, and I say this about baseball, there's certain things that are never going to change. You got to catch it, you got to throw it, you got to hit, and you got to run. Now, you can put all the analytics on it that you want to put on it, which give people things to talk about. But those 4 things are never going to change. As a person or as a kid, the one thing that the thing that I always try and lead them with is that in life, you're only gonna get out of it what you put in it. If you don't put anything in it, you shouldn't expect anything in return. And that has never changed. It's never changed.
No matter if you're traveling on the weekends or you're not on the right team or whatever it may be.
You got to work hard at being the very best that you can be. And if you work hard at being the very best that you can be, and the other people approach it the same way, you got a better chance to win.
Got to ask you about basketball real quick because we do have obviously, the Grizzlies have been destroyed by injury this year. Hopefully, we're going to get to see you were going to get to see John Moran.
Yeah,
obviously,
how about that?
It's not meant to be.
No.
But beyond that, how much NBA do you watch? How much basketball would I be if I'm spending the week at Ozzie Smith's house? How often are we watching basketball?
Well, sports is always on.
It's always on.
It's always on, and it's always nice to see. My guys growing up is you love to watch Magic. I mean that says it all. Jordan, the guys that you know by one name, You know, you say Magic and you know. You say Jordan and you know.
Is there an athlete you love now?
I don't know. You know, it's fun watching little guys be able to excel in the NBA, because the NBA to me is so physical. It is a physical sport. When you watch the Milwaukee Bucks and you know, some of these guys are 7 feet. Embiid and
Giannis.
To watch their touch and stuff, and it's always amazing to me that you can be that big. And I guess Magic really kind of started with Dr. J, who is one of my favorite people in the world. Is watching Dr. J and the Iceman. All of those guys from that era were very, very special to me, you know, because what they did to me is they changed the way you look at the game. That's what made them Hall of Famers. They changed the way you look at the game and the way that they play it, and then it just continued to get better, and the big guys are just continuing. It's the guy in San Antonio now, Wemby. You know, 7-footer dribbling between his legs and stuff, and it's just fascinating to watch it, how this has all transpired and how the game has changed. And big guys now are you know, big guys like that can be guards. It's always fascinating. You asked me earlier about, you know, whether or not I could have made it NBA. You know, you got to be 6'4", 6'5", and up to be able to play in the NBA now, which brings me to Steph Curry. You know, who, you know, probably is one of the best.
Sounds like that's what you thought you were in.
Yes.
When you were All City.
When I was
You were
All
Steph
City,
Curry,
yeah, I was Steph Curry. You know?
So if I grew up wanting to be Ozzie Smith, who did Ozzie Smith grow up wanting to be?
I don't know if I grew up wanting to be anybody in particular. You know,
who was like your childhood, the guy that you...
I realized that baseball was really what I loved doing more than anything else. And, you know, so you watch the little guys, the Maury Wills, the Bert Campaneris of the world, who were smaller guys who were still having a big impact on their teams and stuff. And so I just wanted to be that guy who could contribute to the success of a team. And success of a team has to do a lot with consistency, being consistent at the way you go about your craft every day. You know, I think that's the thing that separates the good from the average and the average from the great, is the degree of consistency with which you do what you do. And so I worked hard at being consistent every day, being able to make that routine play. And I tell kids this, you know, you got to be able to make that routine play every day. You want to be that guy that when they have the meeting on the mound and the manager's about to walk away, he says, "Get Ozzie a ground ball." You know, you want to be that guy on your team that people can rely on and know that more often than not, if I get it to him, something good's going to happen.
He is Ozzie Smith. He is going to be taking part of this symposium, which is going on today at 3:30. It's going to be on TV on Bally Sports, so you'll be able to watch it. He, along with Renee Montgomery and Calvin Hill, Alex English, the honorees are taking place in that today. And then, of course, the Grizzlies are playing the Warriors later this afternoon. This has been the absolute thrill of all thrills. I made it through, Roser. You gotta say, I made it through.
You did.
Well, see,
I made
Chris,
it through.
I'm going to tell you, man. You know, I'm glad that I can be a part of a day where it had to be tough for you. The Dallas Cowboys. How about that?
Not you too.
No,
Him too.
no, Chris. No, I'm just.
no.
I know you're a big Cowboy fan, and there are a lot of fans around the country today that just man, they don't know what to do, man.
It's so crazy. Last
this
night,
was the year.
everybody knew.
Yeah.
And so people were tweeting me. They're like,
Yeah.
just remember, you get to meet Ozzie Smith tomorrow. And I was like, you know.
That's why I'm here, Chris.
You know.
I'm with
this
you.
This is a blessing. No, this is saving me.
Yeah.
The fact that in fact, I couldn't even think about the fact that my team again. Again.
It has to be frustrating, man.
Oh, thanks a lot.
It has to be.
I'm glad. If you would have walked in here with like a Packers hat, I really would have.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't have known what to do with myself.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Well, I'm glad you're getting to enjoy the Memphis snow, Ozzie.
See,
This is
they say it doesn't snow in Memphis.
I know. The one time you get here,
Yeah,
right? And then you are seeing this.
I get snow and I
outside.
don't get to see John Moran. How about that?
You got the.
On the same trip, but
but
I
you
got to
got
meet.
to be here.
I got to be here with you.
You got to be here, and I promise you will never find it. Rosa will attest. He's been with me for 17 years, and he's been in my house many times. You're not gonna-
You wouldn't believe the amount of Cardinals
You're not gonna find
Ozzie
it.
Smith memorabilia he has. It is
crazy.
Yeah. That's
between
great.
cards.
I mean, come on, man. How
That's
many
great.
people still have this?
That's right. It's great to be able, as I said earlier.
Who
to-
has Ozzie the
this-
movie?
The movie. Wow.
When this didn't win the Oscar, I was so mad.
Because there was some real acting done in that, boy.
What year did that come out?
1987.
Yeah, 1987.
1987. Yep, that's it.
Those were the days.
Oh yeah, I've even got I brought a shirt too. I look.
Oh, Platoon won Best Picture that year.
Come on,
Platoon.
Who's rewatching that?
Hey, nobody's rewatching that.
I know how that ends.
And
It's terrible.
Best Actor. Paul Newman
Paul
won
Newman.
Best Actor.
Oh,
for
come
Color
on.
Movie.
Boo.
Guess you needed some salad dressings. Look at this. Look at this one. You can't even see your face on this anymore.
Wow, it's worn out.
Look.
Look at that.
Look.
The
It doesn't
paint's come off of it.
That's a great shirt.
Wow.
Look at
Look
that.
at that.
You can't even see you.
You brought all your stuff, man.
I've got it all.
Wow.
I told you. I
Big
was going
fan.
to prove. I was going to prove.
Big fan.
Ozzie was my guy.
Yeah.
I told you. I mean, like, I rode with it. And every day, you live not far from me. And
the other-
people would see you at Deerberg's, which is the supermarket.
That's right.
They would see you.
Because I have to shop, I have to eat.
I know, and I'm like, there's no way he does his own shopping. They're
Yeah.
like, he's in here all the
All the
time.
time, that's
Oh,
right.
I would, every time I was at Deerberg, I'm like, is Ozzie Smith here? You were never there.
But no, I get to, you know,
You were never
I get to
there.
know all the cashiers and everybody.
That's what they would
there.
tell me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Ozzie's in here all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Where?
When is he in here all the time? I've never seen him one time.
Well, and I got a news for you, Chris. It's still happening. So
You're
if you
still
come to
going
say,
to
I go
Deerberg's?
to Deerberg's, I go to Schnucks. You know, I spread it
Unbelievable.
around, man. Yeah, I do. I like to cook, you know, so I do my own shopping.
That's crazy.
Next time Chris is in St. Louis, he'll be the guy outside one of those stores with
Oh,
a
I
tent.
know.
He'll be camped out
Camped
with a
out.
tent.
Yeah.
Well, there used to be these. I mean, what a feeling it must have been to walk in there.
Oh, yeah.
If they had the big stand-up. So
Stand-up.
he was, he was the face of Vest Soda.
Vest. Me
Vest.
and George Brett. Yeah.
Vest Soda. Do they still make it?
Yes, Vest
They
is still
still have
around.
Vest?
Yeah.
Vest Soda.
Vest
and it had a
Soda.
big stand-up. So, I mean, like, you had to
Yeah.
have seen your stand-up every time you
Okay.
walked in there.
Walked in there.
I've got a-
and I
what
go.
is-
I get right next to it, you know.
Yeah, Vest Soda.
But it's still around.
They do
Unbelievable.
still make it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
crazy. I drank Vest because Ozzie Smith drank Vest.
I think the guy.
You never even drank it, did you?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
love
did?
soda. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
love
good.
soda growing up. But I think the guy's name was Don Schneeberger. I think was
Okay.
the president of Vestnola at the time, and the other guy was Mike Duffy. And Mike Duffy, God rest his soul, has passed on. But those were the two people that I dealt with most of the time. at Vest.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, this has been the thrill of all thrills. Thank you so much for coming in.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
guys so much for having me.
Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith.